Okay, so tonight I'm going to answer worksheet questions, but I'm also going to go back through a little bit more of the 3-5 lesson again for a few students. So we are starting at page 336 on question number 4. And they had just laid out in the solved example 2, the idea of the purchasing of the bond and the simple interest that you would earn. So you're going to earn $160 in interest plus the difference in the value of the bond was the bond face value is 1,000 plus 160 interest, and then you only paid 820 for the bond. So you're actually going to make $340. So on number 4, it's asking us what percentage of your original investment is the profit that we found in solved example 2. So our profit out of the original investment is going to be 340, the profit out of, we only invested 820. And so when we divide that, it comes out to be 0.415, which is 41.5% interest or investment. That's we made 41.5% off of our money, which is amazing. So in number 5, it says if you divide your total percent return from question 4, so that 41.5% by the amount of time and years that you hold the bond. So we're dividing it by the 4 years. You'll get your percent return per year or annual return, which is a key indicator of how well an investment performs. So let's see what that is. 41.5 divided by 4 comes out to be 10.38% per year, which is amazing. That's pretty good. So it says a long-standing rule of thumb on long-term investments in the stock market is that you can expect annual returns in the 6 to 7% range. How would this bond investment compare? So it's much higher than the 6 to 7% range. That's a good investment if we can get a bond for that. Are you good on that one, Shelby?
Yeah, I think I get that. Yes, I think I understand that.
So let's go to the application sections. This will kind of help us put it all together. Extra questions on everything we just did on the lesson video. Oops, okay.
Okay.
So it's page 339. So this is a ticker for let's see. It is the ticker for Walmart stores. And so this is some information about their stock price on this date. And it says, what is the ticker symbol you'd use to look up stock quotes for Walmart? And so that would be this WMT. What was the highest and lowest price that the stock sold for during the last 52 weeks? And that's going to be our 52-week range. So the highest is the 90.97. And the lowest is the 56.30. Then it says, what was the amount of the dividend per share that the company paid last year? And here's their dividend and yield. So they paid $1.96 per share. Per share. which is 3.24% interest. It says if you own 682 shares, how much in dividends did you make last year? So you had 682 shares and you were paid $1.96 for each of those. So you would have been paid dividends of 1,336 and 72 cents. It says how many shares were traded yesterday. And so that is the volume. So the volume is what was traded yesterday. So there was 5,296,196 shares. And then it says, what was the closing price of the stock yesterday? And that would have been the previous close, which they said that was $60.83. Hi, Darla. We're just going through some of that video again in the course pack. Just Shelby wanted to kind of go through it again.
What page?
We are on page 339, the application section.
Okay, let me get.
Any questions on that page, Shelby?
No, I think I'm actually pretty good on finding that stuff in
Okay.
the stock.
Now, the next page is kind of using some of the numbers to do some other things. So number 7 says find the annual earnings per share. And that is the earnings per share right here is $4.67. That's the EPS. Okay, now number 8 says, where is it? Blurry. So it says if you purchase 842 shares of Walmart stock at $60.67 per share and the broker's commission is 2%, find the total cost of the purchase. So we have to remember that the cost is the value of the purchase plus the commission. So we did one of these earlier in the lesson, but so the value is going to be the 842 shares times the 60.67. And then the commission is the value times the percent of the commission rate, which is 2%. So that 842 times 60.67 times the 0.02. And then if we get that, the value of the shares, so just buying the shares is $51,084.14 plus 2% of that is 1,021.68. That's our commission that we have to pay. So the total cost of purchasing comes out to be $52,105.82. Then if you were going to sell that at a later date, right, then you'd have your proceeds. And we did that in the earlier lesson. We did the furthering down where we had the proceeds and we had to pay commission on the proceeds too. So number 9 says, using information in the table, do a calculation to confirm that the PE ratio is correct as listed. So if we calculate the PE ratio, it is the current price divided by the earnings per share. And so that comes out to be 60.75 is the current price divided by the earnings per share up here, 4.67. And that divides to be 13. And if we look at the table, the table's PE ratio says it's 1301, so it's very close. And then number 10 says, based on the information in the table below, do you think Home Depot stock was a better buy than Walmart at that point? And so back in the lesson, if we go back in the lesson, they talked about the PE ratio and what made it good or bad. And that was on page 334. So on page 334, they gave us a table on how to compare. And the 13 is here. If the PE ratios in this range are historically considered to represent stocks being sold at a fair market value. And the one for Home Depot was at 24.89. So theirs was much higher. And so the stock may be overvalued, to so shop carefully. On the other hand, earnings may be increased since the last official earnings report was released. The company could be up and coming. So if we looked, this doesn't say what year it was for Walmart and Home Depot, but Walmart seems to be a better value. And like I said on the video, Walmart and Home Depot aren't totally in the same category as far as they both sell some like home things, like things that you can use to repair your home or paint your home, some decorations, a little bit of furniture the same. But Walmart offers a lot of other like food products and clothing that Home Depot doesn't. So it's kind of a hard comparison, but just using the PE ratio, it looks like Walmart is a better value.
More like winter.
Any questions so far on that? So a question arose about the worksheet for 3.5, right, Shelby? On the worksheet for 3.5,
Yes.
let me grab it, actually. The beta on the GameStop is negative. A negative 1.94. And so I just Googled it because I've never worked with a stock when it was negative either. But one thing to remember, let's just go and look at the definition that popped up here for a moment here. Is it says a negative beta correlation means an investment moves in the opposite direction from the stock market. When the market rises, a negative beta investment generally falls. When the market falls, the negative beta investment will tend to rise. Now, on this one, it's oddly different because, well, the reason it's negative here is because when this was happening, it was last summer and the market was not super great, but yet this stock was going crazy. And it was a really weird situation. Actually, it was even crazier, like months before this date in June. And that's because GameStop, there was a weird situation where these people said, let's all buy GameStop stock. And they, in turn, by buying it, they caused the value of the stock to go crazy high. And it was really, really low. It was only like a few dollars. So if we pull up Yahoo Finance, and we put in GameStop, we can see that it's probably not negative right now because more than likely it's gone way down and it's back into a normal range. And so that GameStop is GME. And let's see, did everybody, my computer's moving really slow. Can you see my my screen, my GameStop? My beta is, it's still really negative. And that's because this was just over 1 day. But if you go back 1 year, this is where we are right now. And look at where it was a year ago in November. It was only at it was only at 1271. So that's, and back then, if you looked at it, I don't know if it will take me back there. I don't know what the beta was then, but my guess is the beta was more like the market. It was a positive beta because it was trending more like the market at that time, but then it got really crazy high. Because these people said, so what happens is if people start buying a company's stock, then the value of the stock goes up because it becomes popular, right? Because they're like, oh, there's things going on with that company. And so then more people want to buy the stock because the stock is going higher, higher, higher. And so what happened was basically the market actually crashed. They had to stop selling that stock. I don't know, I think it was like a year ago, but actually it looks like it got higher in June. So its highest, it looks like, was about June 9th. And they put a stop. They said you can't even buy or sell the stock because they didn't have the funds to pay out that money if everybody sold it. So that's why it was negative, because it was going opposite of the stock market during that time. And it still technically is going up when the stock market's going down. It's a weird phenomenon. I hope that explains it a little bit better.
It did. So within that, how am I overlooking how to find how many shares are outstanding?
So yeah, I've been addressing this all day with folks. So they just don't use the word outstanding in the course pack. We did this. So in the course pack, if you turn back to page 331, it says use, let me share my paper again here. So on 331, it says use the market cap to find how many shares the company issued. And that's when it says outstanding, it means how many shares are out there that people own. And we have to use the market cap to work backwards to do that. So in the course back, we knew the market cap was about 463 billion. And then that is calculated by taking the number of shares times the current price. And so if you divide the market cap, see over here, I did the calculation. If you take the market cap and divide by the current price, that'll give you the number of shares outstanding. They just didn't use that terminology in the course pack.
Okay.
Shares outstanding. I had some other folks asking about that today. So the question come up on calculating the number of outstanding shares, and on page 339, they didn't ask us to do that anywhere. But if we wanted to do that in Desmos just for the practice, we would take the market cap, so it's 194.51 billion. So number of outstanding shares would be the 194.51 billion divided by the current price of 60.75. So if I go to Desmos and get that, so if we do 194.51 divided by 60.75, we get 3.208 billion, right? So this would be 3.2018 billion shares. But let's say you had something that was, let's say you had 194.51 market cap, but your price was 115, or even let's say it was $250 a share, and you came up with something like this, then it would be, if we wrote this in a note, it would be 0.778 billion shares. So you would have to take that 77804 and multiply that by 1 billion, which is 9 zeros. And so that would actually come out to be 77,804,000. Did I do that right? Oh, no, it'd be 7,780,000,000, right? Oh gosh, I got my zeros all mixed up here. 778 million. This is what I get for trying to read it. And we've got 40,000. That's what it is. So it'd be 778,040,000. So when you go to find your number of outstanding shares and you take your market price and divide by your current price, if it doesn't come out to be a whole billion, then you just have to multiply by the 1 billion with the zeros, and then it will get to a number that you can read again, and it'll be in millions. It's a little quirky. So question on the 3.5 worksheet came up on part E. It's asking if you sold all your stock from D for the current bid price, and the current bid price is saying that they want to pay 238, they're willing to pay $238.12. Somebody is for up to 1,200 shares. And so we're gonna pretend that somebody was willing to buy all of your shares, the 1234 at that price. Because the bid means somebody else is bidding to buy those shares, but you actually have more than the 1,200. But you're gonna pretend that you're gonna sell all 1,234 of your shares for that price of 238.12 for part E.